Hey y'all, it's me, your fave, Jazz on Fire. And if you've seen literally every headline in the past week, you'll know that UNC's and several other universities' roadmap to fall 2020 has failed miserably. Let's chat about it.
Jazz on Fire.
So 2 weeks ago, I was here before UNC's first day of class and wishing everyone a great F-Doc. And last week, I celebrated L-Walk. All in the span of 2 weeks. Look at that. Yay. So this comes after the Daily Tar Heel went viral, making like national headlines for its headline. And I saw it and I was like, UNC's got a cluster, what? And you know, after a very, very busy F-Walk, UNC moved all courses to remote-only instruction and advised students to move off campus to de-densify after several COVID clusters. In addition to the rapid spread of COVID, we've also been battling with transparency at the university. UNC claims that releasing specific numbers is a violation of FERPA rules or laws, but our good friends at the Red School down the road has been very open with students about their alerts, as you can see. Other UNC system schools have also followed suit and adjusted instruction accordingly. Today's ep will feature a discussion with some personal faves of mine who have been very vocal about UNC and COVID. All right, everyone. So today's guests are Hanna Wondmagegn, our fierce photojournalist in the class of 2021. So she's a senior. And then we have Alexis Romero Walker. She's a PhD student at UNC, studying media and communications, and she's a professor/TA for the J School, one of my favorite professors. And this semester, she's TAing for Media 101 while she does her dissertation. So like I said, these are two of my faves, and they are relentless voices advocating for accountability at this university. So ladies, you've both been very informed and vocal during all of this. What has been your biggest frustration with UNC and, you know, how they've handled COVID?
There are so many frustrations, and we can sit here for hours talking about all the things that is very frustrating with how UNC has been handling COVID and, you know, bringing students back and all that. But I think ultimately what's the most frustrating for me and for a lot of people is the lack of transparency, right? Like there's just no communication happening. It's minimal. We get the broad statements that don't really mean much. We get the long emails, we get the websites, but they're not really saying much because if it was enough information, then people wouldn't be asking questions.
Yeah, that's a big one for one. I guess one of my biggest frustrations is with all of the many emails we're getting, the constant, like, our students' health is the most important. All of the people on campus, your health is the most important thing to us. When we know that's not necessarily true, we would have never opened if that were the case. You know, I get even more emails than y'all do, and we've known how bad this is the whole time. And we continue to make these arrangements and changes to campus saying all of this stuff about health is important, when we kind of already knew that we were going to have to shut down once something happened anyway. But I think UNC was more concerned about students not registering or deferring for a year because of everything, and they wanted to have students locked in after tuition.
Absolutely. And then also thinking about, you know, that transparency or that lack of transparency also, I think, gives us a lot of room for, you know, uncertainty and also just like, you know, misconceptions. So what do you think, and either of you again can answer this, what do you think are some misconceptions swirling around about the university and COVID that you've heard yourself and that you also want to clear up?
Understandably, a lot of us feel as if the university has been motivated by greed and by money, right? And the history of UNC has proven that in a lot of ways. And so it's hard to refute that, but I've been seeing conversations on Twitter of like, they had to try, you know, there are people whose lives are tied to the jobs that they get from the university, and they had to, you know, I've just been seeing all of that discourse, and people have been saying, well, like, we can't say that it's all greed. And for me, it's like, it's not even that could be true, and I feel like that definitely there is a part of that is true, but the trust has just been so broken. Like, you could have had complete good faith and good intentions with everything you've done administration wise, but at the end of the day, because of that lack of transparency, because of the history of UNC, and especially with the Black community, there's just no trust. So regardless of the actual intentions, and if Chancellor Guskowitz or anyone was like rolling over in their sleep every day, like, you know, if caring that much, it's like that trust is gone.
Additionally, another thing that I guess I didn't really understand at first either, was a lot of faculty didn't want to come back on campus. A lot of people, even in our school, said we need to go online. This is important that we go online, even though there are some people that didn't think that. And I didn't understand why they didn't just make like our school online, but you know, that's really not their choice. It's all of the higher up at UNC that makes those decisions. So I know that a lot of people really want to help, but it's just that big giant top committee that is making all the decisions, and they're the ones that are hiding information from us. Mm-hmm. So it's really difficult because blame is being like put everywhere, and it's like who do we actually make the blame about? I don't think it's students. I don't think it's faculty. I don't think it's staff. It's just the way hierarchies work, and hierarchies don't keep in mind certain communities that are the ones that are in danger.
If we had to actually, you know, let's not say point fingers, but actually appoint accountability, how would we do that?
I think it's the people on top, because they're the ones that are making these decisions, like our committees at the top of UNC. And if we're really thinking about it, it's not just UNC Chapel Hill, it's the whole UNC system is controlled by a group of people. I don't exactly know what they're called, but it's like a group of people that are in charge. The Board of Governors. And so like they're not just we don't have just UNC Chapel Hill having decisions made. We're having decisions made about the whole UNC system. And so they need to be held accountable.
For me, it's the Board of Governors. Everything Alexis said, but also just, it's so easy. And this is such, I think, a complex, there's layers to this, right? Like, it's so easy, again, to blame Chancellor Guskowitz. It brings me back to Chancellor Folt, and I'm not in any way apologizing anything she did. I just wonder sometimes how much the hands are tied, right? Mm-hmm. And so it makes me wonder about what's going on with our Chancellor right now. It's like, how much decision-making power did he have? And there have been discussions on that on Twitter, and I keep referencing Twitter a lot, but that's like where I'm at. But like, there are discussions of like, even if your hands are tied, you can still say something. You can still apologize. You can still take responsibility. Like, there are still things that you can do. In no way does this absolve our Chancellor of anything that's happened. So I think they need to be held accountable to the highest degree. What that looks like, I do not know. If that looks like resignation, if that looks like we messed up, if that looks like, I don't know what it would look like. But I think ultimately the Board of Governors has to be the one, because they're the one who put us all in these different positions. And then with our Chancellor, like I was saying, he needs to put himself out there, and he needs to let us know that he actually cares, because right now no one's on his side, understandably, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
So thank you both for agreeing to speak with us. Like I said, your voices are always so valued and so important. And I think it was really interesting to hear both of your perspectives, you know, as a student journalist, as a senior, as a PhD student, as, you know, kind of a professor in that role.
Yeah. We're happy to be here.
Yes. Thank you for bringing us. It's these conversations, you know, that helps us all process and figure it out.
Weren't our guests lovely? Oh, we love a fresh perspective. That's all for today's episode. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and just hang in there. Jazz on Fire out.